I don't know exactly what locked up abroad means in this video. Does that mean like incarcerated or that you get locked up abroad? Like, what does that mean? Probably incarcerated, but the title reminded me that my mom got literally stuck in Cuba during COVID times, and it was stressful. And talking about stress, a lot of you have been telling me that I can tone down on the videos because I post a lot. And you've been worried about my mental health and if I'm going to have a, what is it called? A burnout. Um, I'm good, guys. I'm good. I love making videos. Like, I literally quit my job to do this. So I'm more than happy to be here and do this. Like, I wish you guys could feel how I feel about this. Um, it's just been crazy. The only thing is that I'm gonna be so honest, but it is a bit overwhelming because I was definitely not expecting it to be like this. Some people have been asking like what was I expecting when I started this channel? Probably now around 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I was expecting to literally eat rice and beans for at least 3 months, if even that, you know. Like I was expecting nothing to happen for at least the first 3 months. And it's just like the support that I've been getting from you guys has just been incredible. I'm extremely grateful. But yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming in the sense that like I'm like I was not ready for this. Another thing is that I am going to be telling you guys my name really soon, and you can get my social medias and everything, but because I wasn't expecting this to go so quickly, and I've always used my social media as a very personal kind of like only friends type thing, but now we're friends too, so I'm going to share it eventually, and it's going to be pretty soon as well. But I was just not expecting this to be this. But anyways, enough babbling for now. So today we're reacting to what really happens when you're locked up abroad. Let's see what this video is about, guys.
It's every traveler's nightmare. You're exploring another country, soaking in the culture, maybe butchering the language a little, and suddenly, boom, you're arrested. Sometimes it's a misunderstanding. Sometimes it's politics.
See, yeah, obviously it means arrested, locked up.
And sometimes, well, sometimes you just shouldn't try to steal a propaganda poster. And that's why, today, we're taking a look at some famous cases of people who were arrested abroad and what happened to them. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other terrifying travel stories you would like to hear about.
Actually, if you think about it, it would be so freaking scary to get locked up abroad. Also depends on where you are, but imagine you're in a country where you don't know the language and you're there with other people, like, no thank you. But then again, they probably did something to get locked up, so.
Okay, hope you're ready for some arresting entertainment. We all know what it's like to get stopped by the TSA and feel our stomach drop. Well, multiply that feeling by North Korea. In 2016, 21-year-old University of Virginia student Otto Warmbier was on a guided tour in North Korea, which, right off the bat, sounds like a great way to court disaster. Anyway, cameras caught someone, allegedly Otto, pulling down a propaganda poster in a hotel. When he tried to fly home, officials detained him, and he was accused of trying to undermine North Korea's work ethic and motivation, which in our humble opinion is a pretty big leap from taking a piece of paper off the wall. If you're thinking he'd just get a slap on the wrist for it, think again. Otto was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. Tragically, he fell into a coma while in prison and was sent home a year later in critical condition, passing away shortly after. To this day, no one fully knows what happened to him. It's a heartbreaking story.
Oh my goodness. I went through all the emotions during that because first I thought, okay, first of all, you're in North Korea, so you should respect their culture, even though we don't maybe agree with it. But still, if you go to another country, it doesn't matter which country you go to, please respect their culture. And so, and then I was thinking maybe he took the poster to take it home as like, a souvenir. And then I was thinking, oh, what language were they talking in the courtroom? And then he got incarcerated 15 years. Is that even like legally possible? And now I'm just sad because he fell into a coma while he was incarcerated. He couldn't even be home. That's so sad. Okay. Oh.
A chilling reminder of how serious even tiny actions can be in certain countries.
And he was so young too, 21. Come on.
Meet Andrew Brown, a British dad traveling through Dubai in 2008. Airport officials searched his luggage and found, wait for it, 0.003 grams of cannabis stuck to the bottom of one of his shoes. For reference,
Guys, there is no way. There is no way he got incarcerated for that. There is absolutely no way. That is insane.
it's less than a single grain of sugar and not nearly enough to get high on. But Dubai's drug laws are, to put it mildly, terrifyingly strict. And that microscopic amount got him sentenced to 4 years in prison. He served 6 months before being pardoned and later asked the best question ever. Am I responsible for the ground beneath my feet? Who looks at the soles of their shoes?
That is wild. That is wild. He did 6 months for nothing. I hope he got some money out of it or something.
You might know the name John McAfee from the antivirus software on your old Windows computer. Yep, we're talking about that McAfee. But the man behind the software lived a life that falls somewhere between a true crime documentary and a fever dream. He was wanted in connection with a murder in Belize and fled to Guatemala, still claiming innocence and live streaming his escape. Beat that, Twitch. Anyway, he was arrested for illegally entering the country. Then, he faked 2 heart attacks. Apparently just not in the mood for that crap. The Guatemalan government said, "We're sick of this guy," and deported him back to the US, where McAfee did what any of us would do in his shoes: run for president. Twice. Both bids were unsuccessful. Shocker, I know. And somehow, he ended up in Spain, where he died in prison in 2021 under somewhat suspicious circumstances.
Here in Spain? Here? Why did he get incarcerated though? After running for president? What is going on here? Someone explain. What did I just listen to?
Between his crypto schemes and conspiracy theories, it's safe to say this guy's life had more plot twists than an episode of Black Mirror.
Definitely.
In 2022, WNBA star Britney Griner was arrested in Russia when vape cartridges with hashish oil were found in her luggage. The charge? Large-scale drug trafficking. The possible sentence? Up to 10 years, which is a lot.
How is that hashish is the same thing as marijuana, isn't it? And it's oil, so would it be like is it called THC oils when there's like no drug in there? What?
Large-scale drug trafficking. The possible sentence? Up to 10 years, which is a lot longer than we recommend staying in a Russian prison. Griner pled guilty, but insisted she had no
And in Russia?
intent to break the law. The US government declared her wrongfully detained and started negotiating. Months later, she was freed in a high-profile prisoner swap, traded for a Russian arms dealer nicknamed the Merchant of Death, which, for marketing purposes, is a great nickname for an arms dealer. In 2001, 14 British and Dutch aviation enthusiasts were in Greece, geeking out over planes at an air show. The problem? The local authorities had no idea plane spotting was a thing. The 14 were arrested, accused of espionage, and sentenced to 3 years in prison for taking notes and photos of airplanes. After 6 weeks and global outrage, they were released. That being said, those 6 weeks probably weren't much fun, as we imagine most other prisoners weren't all afraid of the guys who were in for writing down airplane numbers. In 1995, beloved British rom-com actor Hugh Grant was arrested in Los Angeles for, let's say, public indecency. A guy like Grant probably could have unleashed an army of lawyers to fight the charges, but instead, he opted for a surprisingly classy apology tour where he basically said, "Yeah, I messed up." No excuses, no spin. Thanks to his honesty, and/or the fact that he's one of the most handsome and charismatic white men to ever live, it worked. Grant bounced back, and the incident actually boosted his fame. Heck, public relations textbooks still cite it as one of the best celebrity apology recoveries ever. Amanda Knox was a 21-year-old American exchange student in Italy when her roommate, Meredith Kircher, was murdered. Knox was accused and then convicted, then acquitted, then retried, then acquitted again. It was all very confusing. It was also an international media circus.
Imagine how scary that is for her. She doesn't know who murdered her friend, and then this happened. Like,
American media portrayed her as an innocent sweetheart at the wrong place at the wrong time, while Italian media portrayed her as a party girl sex fiend who took a sexual game with her boyfriend a little too far. After years of legal chaos, she was finally cleared for good in 2015. Her case remains one of the most widely debated of the last 2 decades. Lucy Wright went to Argentina as part of a shady holiday arranged by her drug dealer. You can probably already guess where this is headed, which makes you smarter than Lucy. Turns out, her luggage was stuffed with 6 kilograms of cocaine. She was arrested, but bizarrely,
oh my God, how can you be so, there's a word for this, that you would actually think is a good idea to go somewhere with a drug dealer.
luggage was stuffed with 6 kilograms of cocaine. She was arrested, but bizarrely released before trial. So what did she do? She escaped the country by swimming across a river into Brazil. 4 hours, in the dark, covered in mud, which is an escape plan even Andy Dufresne would probably take a pass on. Years later, British police arrested her, but refused to extradite her back to Argentina, fearing she'd face inhumane treatment. Now that's one wild redemption arc.
If she was already released, oh, what if she got incarcerated afterwards? But that's crazy though, that's crazy. And the fact that she was able to swim for 4 hours straight in, outside. Okay.
In 2011, American filmmaker Matthew Van Dyke joined rebels fighting against dictator Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, which was as heroic as it was incredibly dangerous. He was captured and spent 6 months in solitary confinement. But when his rebel buddies stormed the prison, they literally broke the locks off his cell and freed him. After that, Van Dyke went back into war zones to film documentaries, because apparently one near-death experience wasn't enough.
Talk about dedication, and you guys are worried for me.
In 2002, 22-year-old actor Eric Audet, who'd appeared in the immortal classic Dude, Where's My Car?, got an offer from a friend to help transport leather goods from Turkey. Seems innocent enough, right? Just bring some bags back and make a little cash. Long story short, those bags were full of 3.6 kilograms of opium. Audet swore he didn't know, but Pakistani officials weren't buying it. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison and served 2 before being released after the governor of New Mexico personally appealed for him. Anyway, it just goes to prove what we've always said. If a friend offers you a travel gig that sounds too easy, it's because you're unknowingly trafficking narcotics.
It's so interesting, but I always get stopped at the airport. Always. I once even got my shoes opened. I was underage too, but I had these boots that were leather boots, and they opened my shoes to look if there's something inside. There wasn't obviously anything in there, and in Sweden they had this machine where they scanned my body, probably to see if I had stuck something somewhere. I don't know what that scanner is for, but I think it's for that. Or metal it's not a metal detector, I don't think. It's like a bubble you go into and it scans you. Yeah, it was very weird.
Magician Mark Greening was living in Bali when his girlfriend got pregnant, and suddenly, card tricks weren't paying the bills. So, he switched from juggler to smuggler and got to work moving hash into Japan. At first, his tricks worked, and he made around $80,000. But when police caught him in 2002, Greening pulled off the dumbest magic trick in history: honesty. He told the cops where the rest of his stash was hidden, doubling his prison sentence to 5 years. Ta-da! While working at a hospital in Saudi Arabia, British citizen Stephen Comiskey got a text from a friend to meet up. But when he arrived, instead of his friend, he was met by Saudi officials who ambushed and arrested him for being gay. He was beaten, threatened with death, and forced to sign a confession in Arabic, a language he couldn't read. After 6 brutal months, British diplomats finally negotiated his release. Turns out, the whole thing may have been a political payback after a Saudi prince was convicted in London for murdering his servant.
That is crazy. Okay, but he had nothing to do with this. That's crazy.
Political payback after a Saudi prince was convicted in London for murdering his servant, a trial that embarrassed Saudi Arabia internationally. Comiskey's story is a sobering reminder. In some places, your identity can be criminalized. We don't have a joke for that. It just sucks. John White ran a construction company in Abu Dhabi. One day in 2012, after flying back from Ireland, he was detained at the airport, accused of owing £500,000 to creditors. According to him, however, his clients owed him over £1 million, but hadn't paid. He spent 2 years in a freezing 4x4 cell with 6 other men. And when his sentence ended, surprise, another creditor filed a claim, adding 3 more years to his time. White served all 5 years before finally being allowed to leave, but only after repaying debts that weren't even entirely his. Now that's what we call customer service. In 2008, filmmaker Andrew Behrens was shooting a documentary in Nigeria about local women bringing goods to market, which is no big deal, unless you're the Nigerian police. They arrested Behrens, his translator, and his host, accusing them of espionage. He spent 36 hours with barely any food or water and was
What is espionage?
detained for 10 days before being expelled from the country. That'll teach him to not film women bringing goods to market.
That is so weird. But Spanish law is also weird here in Spain. If you record on the street and someone decides to sue you, you can get up to 11 years in jail because you can't record in public or you can't take photos in public, which is kind of annoying, you know, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But there's like, yeah, no, like, I don't know how it works though, because it's a bit weird because, you know, if you're a tourist, you can take pictures, but then you can't really, I mean, if you get sued, then you get sued, but that would be just, I don't know, it's just nonsense.
Most recently, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich was arrested in Russia in 2023 for espionage, despite zero evidence. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison before finally being released in a massive prisoner swap in 2024, one of the largest since the Cold War. Among those swapped, a convicted Russian hitman that Putin himself called a patriot, because apparently, even in 2024, everyone still loves a good reboot. From accidental crimes to political power plays, these stories remind us that traveling abroad can be thrilling, but also risky if you forget how differently the world operates. In Dubai, microscopic dust can land you in prison. In Italy, a smile
That actually makes me so scared to like go to Dubai now. I've never been there, but I would not probably go after seeing this.
can make you guilty. In Greece, binoculars equal espionage. And in Belize, well, no. John McAfee probably did do all that stuff. So clear out that suitcase you use all the time and really wipe off the bottom of your shoes, just in case. So what do you think? And which of these stories shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from Weird History.
I think they were all pretty shocking, honestly. I think the little dust on the bottom of the shoe was the most shocking one for me, and also obviously the first one is very sad. This boy that died eventually because of this, because of taking a poster down. That's insane. But let me know in the comments below which one you thought was the most insane, and have you heard of any of these? And thank you for joining me for the video. Yes, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!